We are live. O2 hydration, best hour, back in the sack together.
Gotta love that.
Is that okay to say? I figured we could talk dirty now since I have an OnlyFans page.
You better. I haven't talked to you in so long, man.
I know, dude.
All your sweet nothings.
Got a face for radio.
Why don't I start to interview you about your OnlyFans page? Because
I got
dropped that.
I got notified via Slack message that we're doing an OnlyFans giveaway. So anybody that is aware, Team Fern, only Team Fern. If you're on Team Ackerman, that's basically you've decided you want to be a loser for the rest of your life. So just don't even opt for that one. But yeah, $500 giveaway. Cody, come on screen real quick and give us the rundown on that.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on between now and the next 2 weeks. There are a few things that are mandatory. You've got to be a fan of us, which we all know you are. You've got to follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, sign up for our newsletter. All of those you can find links to at the link that's in our bio for Instagram. And then some of the ways that you can improve your chances. Oh, and on that post that we made, it is pinned at the top of our grid on Instagram. You've got to share it and you got to tag 3 people. All that's mandatory. All right. So now you're in the drawing. Cool. In order to improve your chances, you show up on these streams here. You comment Team Ackerman or Team Fern. We already got some people that are over here in the chat. Nick P, Nikki Sharp, Candy Hughes, Philip Kelly, all of it, right? You show up, we go live 3 times a week. So you got 6 opportunities between now and before the contest is over to show up in their chats. We've got a couple other ways. You can check out that pin post, though. Give us a cue of the week. Share our whiteboard post. Really just interacting with us on social media. And at the end of that, we will pick a winner to win a $500 Rogue gift card, which might get you a sweat towel.
Well, with today's inflation, that's accurate. So thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. Yeah, so get in there, Team Fern only. Also, like and subscribe, share this YouTube channel. Go buy some O2. Your life will be better for all of those things. But
dude, we can just end it there, man.
Right, we're done. Show's over. But Mr. Dave Kleina, I believe this is either your 3rd or 4th. No, I think it's your 4th time on the show. Is
it really 4? Wow.
Yeah, I think we did the first one we ever did was during COVID, and then we obviously did one live. And I know you've done another one. I think with Ackerman.
Ackerman and Nicole Christensen from Roots. Yeah, that was a fun one.
You might be our most frequented guest of the show.
Yes. Does that mean you get a OnlyFans page?
It means you get a free OnlyFans page. Right. Yeah.
You mean to get that.
But we wanted to talk. You guys are doing O2. Obviously, is going through a rebranding. You guys are kind of shifting gears here, but you guys have. I think there can be some things learned. I think you're a tough son of a bitch, and you guys have had a bit of a year, I guess I would say.
It's like it's been a bit of a couple years.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be learned because you're still here, still kicking, still getting after it, still doing the thing. So how far back do we want to go here?
How far back do you want to go? Last time we talked? When was the last time we talked?
The last time you and I talked was when we were in
Madison.
When we were when we were in Madison. Yep. Yes, I was going to say Boulder, but that was prior to that. So we were in Madison, and talked is a loose term. That's like in passing or
high five.
Yeah, or drunk. So it's kind of one or the other. But yeah, you guys had a great showing at the games.
We did. That was cool.
I think that was a big thing for you guys, and you guys were kind of in the midst of closing out some fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
How far after the games does that shift start, or whatever we were going to call it? I don't even know.
After the games was really when we started to hit some turbulence, some pretty meaningful turbulence at O2. And I guess I should have been tipped off, as soon as I got back from Madison. I came down with COVID for the first time, and it just totally knocked me on my ass. and really, I got up again 5 days later, and then something else knocked me on my ass. And then I got up again 5 days later, something else. So it felt like that's when, everything goes in peaks and valleys, but that's when a valley started for me personally, for sure. And as you mentioned, we had our first institutional fundraise was closing over the course of September and October. So we'd been working on this deal with a venture capital group here in Boulder. And, it was the first time that we'd raised a pretty large amount of money from a venture group or otherwise. And we spent so much time and energy and dollars getting that deal done, papered, legal costs, all the diligence, et cetera, only to see it fall apart the same week that that the money was supposed to hit the bank. And that was
this is like legit the 11th hour.
It was the 11th hour. Yeah. The analogy that we made was it felt like we had gotten, stood up at the podium on our own wedding day. And that was a big surprise. And, and anyone listening knows, if you own a business, surprises are not good because,
they're typically the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And this one was especially not good because the partner who we'd been, discussing and then working on this deal with, one of the partners, it was somebody who, I'd grown close with and grew to trust, like a mentor in many ways. And I got no signs whatsoever from him or anyone else on his team that this was going to fall apart. In fact, we got a lot of encouragement to go ahead and hire people and spend money on things like marketing, events, CrossFit Games, et cetera, as if the deal was already done and the money was in the bank. And so we did. So when it fell through, we had to revisit our entire business plan basically, and rework our entire business model. And like a lot of companies, over the course of the last 6 months, we've gone through more rounds of layoffs than I care to admit. And partly as a result of that fundraise falling through, and then partly as a result of, some other things in the macroeconomic climate. But, and probably anyone else listening to this, if you focus enough on the things that are within your control, you can get through almost any situation. And I'm very proud and happy and glad to say that we've gotten through those turbulent times and are now in a much stronger position than we would have been otherwise, honestly.
That's awesome. Have you had any contact with this person that was kind of a mentor, or is there a chance that they didn't know, or they just were under lock and key?
I mean, I think that, so I have had a little bit of contact. He and I actually teach the same class at the same university here in Boulder.
Oh, okay.
So we're both faculty members. So that's a little weird. But I think that fundamentally he is a good person who had the right intentions, but just went about things in a very poor and very almost just not a good way.
Right. Okay. We don't have to get into the details. I was just curious, like if it's like maybe this guy got caught off guard, just like
no. He's one of 4 people in the fund, and he's the only one in the United States. So he's a leader in that fund.
Right. So on that note, a question for you. I know a little bit about the VC world and the VC game.
Yep.
What do people not know about that? So venture capitalists is basically, it's outside money to come in, essentially help you grow your a company ahead of revenue in vast majority of instances. And I know it can sound great and it can be great, but that's not how the world works. So what do people not know about the VC game that might be shocking?
I think that at least in the, in on the side of that table that I sit, VCs don't have a great reputation. Right. And frankly, I think that's earned. I like any field and any, sort of stereotype, there are definitely exceptions. This morning, for example, I had breakfast with one of my best friends in Boulder, who's a very prominent VC in the food and beverage industry, and he's just a great human being. And a couple of weeks ago, I had another very prominent Boulder-based or Denver-based VC come in and guest lecture my class, and she's a great human being. But there's a reputation among entrepreneurs that venture capitalists are, sometimes predatory and sometimes don't have the business's best interest in mind, and can sometimes get in the way and muck things up.
Mhm.
And I've seen that personally in the experience that I just shared. I'm positive this wasn't the case, but if somebody wanted to destroy the business, that was a pretty good way to go about
Right.
doing it. You know,
Right. Purposefully or not,
yeah,
job,
right.
job well done. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that story isn't unique to me, unfortunately.
Right.
There's been a lot of entrepreneurs who have gotten stood up at the altar. There's been a lot of entrepreneurs who have, seen their business kind of go down the toilet after getting venture capital involved. And so I'll tell you what is a truth objectively, because it's my own that I can share, is I would not go into a business again that absolutely required other people's money.
Interesting. That was kind of what I was going to ask you, is like, if you were going to do it again, would you do anything differently? But it just sounds like I would not do it again.
I would not go. I would not go into a industry or a business model that couldn't be profitable from day one.
Got it.
Because or I couldn't fund personally.
And at this point, so right now you're referring to the beverage industry, like just going into.
I'm referring to any industry.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Like if let's say let's fast forward 10 years,
Mhm.
and O2's doing its own thing, but I'm not there anymore, or whatever is next for me.
Mhm.
I would be surprised if I were telling you, yeah, I'm the CEO of this company, or I founded this company, and we have investors, or we have venture capital, or we have private equity involved. And the reason for that is, well, it's not because all investors are bad. In fact, O2 has some incredible investment partners, and we wouldn't be around if it weren't for them.
Right.
But it is because you give up control of your own destiny when you're reliant on other people's money.
Mhm.
And we saw that and learned that in a very real and painful way over the course of September, October, when that fundraise fell apart. I mean, we were promised and papered, a fundraise to the tune of $10 million, and that evaporated. And it was because some rich guy made a decision, and made a misinformed decision, in my opinion, but it totally changed everything
Mhm.
for everybody who works at O2, myself included.
Right.
So you're subject to the whim of somebody else's decision making. Who wants to do that?
Right.
Why not be subject to your own decision making?
Right. Let's do this because speculating is fun. If you were to speculate in a vacuum, free of any sort of penalty, do you see that being a problem for CrossFit?
I don't know.
I know nothing about that relationship, just for the record. Somebody's like looking for insider baseball. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope not. And
Me too.
I would be surprised if that fund, which has from my understanding, venture capital and private equity are two pretty different things.
Right.
So I'm closer to the venture capital world than the private equity world. But that said, and Berkshire Partners is a private equity fund.
They do have a VC components of that. Maybe I don't know the details of that. I don't know if it's.
They might.
I will very openly acknowledge my ignorance here. I don't know which one of it is.
I would bet that it's the private equity side.
Private equity, okay.
Because of the size of that transaction,
right?
Yeah. And they've got a pretty good reputation, from what little I know of the private equity world.
I mean, it's Berkshire Hathaway. That's not a secret, right? So yeah,
that's right. Pretty well established company. And so I would be surprised if they came in and tried to muck things up with CrossFit, because because of the strength of their reputation, and also because of the strength of the leadership team that they've been able to recruit and maintain and retain.
Right.
If they sucked, and if they were inadvertently flushing things down the toilet, I don't think you'd see the people who have chosen to stay, who have been at CrossFit for a long time. And I don't think you'd see the quality of people who are, newer to that business and in leadership positions. So So I'm making the bet with O2 as a sponsor of the CrossFit Games and, full season partner, that business will get better, not worse, as a result of that investment.
I too hope so. So I think that's good for everybody. So we'll see. I think we'll see some more information come out here in a couple weeks. But so let's talk about that. So you guys are gonna be is that a title sponsor? What's the technical
What is the
or
technical?
just partner of some sort? I don't
Partners,
remember.
sponsors.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
So you guys will be there in full force again, throwing O2 at everybody.
That's right. That's right.
Got it.
We are the exclusive sports drink of the CrossFit Games, and that was, when you have a moment like many of us have had. If you own a business, you have an oh shit moment or two or three, or more than three in my case. But last year's biggest oh shit moment was when that deal fell apart. And that moment, like I said, really forced us to reevaluate the entire business model. And I was not sure O2 was going to survive. I mean, we've had multiple oh shit moments in the past, and never had I questioned our survival except for this one. And so I really had to question everything. And one of the things that I questioned was the brand and the rebrand and the positioning, which we'll talk about.
Mhm.
But another thing that I questioned was, our ability, even just our ability to do the CrossFit Games. Could we pay to do that? Right. And then should we pay to do that?
Right.
Under this revised business model. And ultimately we chose to move forward, and CrossFit has been great in working with us to do that. Because we believe in CrossFit and where it's going. But it was, you have to question almost everything in one of those oh shit moments. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably not had any oh shit moments to that extent, but I've definitely had more than I care to think about. And
Mhm.
I always look at those and I'm like, those oh shit moments look like this, where like all options now go on the table.
That's right.
Like everything. You're
That's
just
right.
like,
Everything.
do
Right.
I cannibalize the whole thing? Do I get rid of it? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
you start running through, what are seemingly doomsday scenarios of like, do we shut down?
Right.
Do we quit? Like, what do we do? And those are not fun, man. I do think they make you a different type of business owner, though. I
I think
think
so too,
they
because a lot
make
of
you
people don't want to do stuff like that.
right, right.
You know,
What was that like for you?
it wasn't fun, and I don't think any of those oh shit moments of reevaluation are fun, because you have to face some truths that you may not want to face. The first of which was, oh, I have to do a round of layoffs like tomorrow for me, and the people who lost their jobs were great people who were doing great things at O2, and that's always tough. Another was whether or not we should continue to move forward with this rebrand exercise that we did, and ultimately we chose to do that, and I think it was the right decision. But that was tough, and so you have to put everything on the table, including, do I want to do this anymore? Or in my case, am I the best person to do this? Right.
Oh,
So I
that one
reevaluated
that
those.
one stings.
Yeah, totally. And ultimately I concluded that, yeah, I want to do this. And yeah, I'm still, I think, the right person to be doing this at this stage. But you have to look at all things as objectively as possible. And that's really tough to do, right? Because we're all really good at convincing ourselves of our own bullshit.
Right.
And I think that is a slippery slope. But if you can just take a step back and recognize those oh shit moments for what they are, which I think are opportunities to get stronger and tighter as a business, then it's like, okay, I can do this because it's best for the business, and it's ultimately going to be best for me and the team as a result.
Mm-hmm. So you've mentioned it a couple times, and I think when we did our podcast in Boulder, you guys had just kind of started down that path of a rebrand. I don't even remember if we talked about it in the podcast. If we did, it was very
Surface
very
level.
very surface level. So talk about that, and then talk about what are the things that went into that. Like, so you're going through this rebranding, and then basically your knees are kicked out from underneath you, And then you're like, oh shit, is this the best option? Do we go completely rechange our brand as we're losing essentially like all of the lifeblood of a functioning business?
Right. Exactly. And thankfully there had been a lot of really good thinking already put into that project at that time, because if we weren't as far along with it as we were, we probably wouldn't have done it. We probably wouldn't have gone forward with it. But that project of rebranding our business, repositioning it from a recovery drink to a healthy sports drink was really a 14-month project. That started in late 2021 when, after I can't remember which oh shit moment this was. It was a less severe one, but it was a moment, right? It kind of hit me that we weren't doing a very good job of communicating what's so special about our product, which is the fact that it's twice as effective as Gatorade with only 1 gram of sugar, and it tastes fucking awesome. And you would never have gotten that information just from looking at the can. This is our old can design. The old can design looked fine, but it didn't look particularly appetizing. It kind of looked sterile and clinical. It said oxygenated recovery drink, which what the hell is that to somebody who knows nothing about our product? And that was about it, and you can kind of barely make out the flavor names. So we had put a ton of time and energy into developing that brand and that positioning.
Yeah. So Cody pulled up. This is the old one. Yeah, this is the older one.
Yep.
Do you have a picture of the new one, Cody? Or those even out? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
So if you contrast those two, you can see how far of a departure the most recent iteration is from the older. It's the same liquid formulation, because we knew we knocked that out of the park from day one. Everybody who tries O2 always really, really likes it. Our customers are super loyal, whether you're talking wholesale, gym owners, or D2C subscribers. And we've always gotten really, really positive feedback on the liquid. But that doesn't matter if somebody at a gym who's unfamiliar with O2 looks at, looks into the cooler and sees this can that they don't really recognize, that doesn't really telegraph the benefits of the product. The brand doesn't make a ton of sense. That none of that matters, because they're never going to try it. Right?
Dude, I was literally having this comment in a thread, not this comment, but a very, like a 1000% completely parallel conversation on a different topic in a Instagram thread today about, Cody, what was the thread that was it Jay who put up the thread about the limited punch classes? I don't know. I think Jay put up something about like punch classes, and our kind of stance is like, hey, they're really not great for the business and not great for the client. And somebody, it was a very respectful conversation. So I'm not poo-pooing anybody. But one of the arguments was like, well, we offer these because it allows the client to get what they want, or to what do they say? I don't want to put words in their mouth. It allows the client to pay for what they use. And I said, okay, well, it's a novel thought. It still doesn't change the actual outcome, right? So intent is different than outcome, number one. Number two, I said, well, when I get into the limited, and I'm gonna wrap up this story and put a bow on it. But so when I'm selling limited classes, now I'm exchanging money for time. Right. And I said, that's not what we sell. So I said, what do you sell? He said, well, we sell coaching and accountability. And there's a disconnect there, number one, because if you're selling 2 times a week, like it's hard for you to convince me that you're selling accountability. That's the first one. But number two, we also have to recognize that what we say we're selling is not always what people are buying.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
And how we think about how we actually communicate that so that the person actually buys what it is that I'm selling. And we're talking semantics here, but it's important. And it kind of goes, it goes perfectly in line with this discussion right here, which is like, hey, that brand, we know what we're doing and we're telling people what we're doing, but that's not what people are buying.
Totally. And I think that goes back to the importance of not believing your own bullshit too much and not convincing yourself of some story that may not be true. And just evaluating things on a semi-regular basis as objectively and clinically and coldly as humanly possible. Because when I went through that exercise with O2, I developed the hypothesis that we just weren't doing a good job of communicating on our packaging what was so great about what we were selling, right?
Mhm.
And then I validated that after talking with dozens of gym owners, dozens, and I think you and I had that conversation,
Mhm.
dozens of drinko2.com website subscribers. Everybody told me almost without exception that they drink O2 because it's just a cleaner, better sports drink. No, I mean, maybe one or two people said, "Oh, I drink it for, recovery." Everybody
Right.
else was, I drink it for the hydration. I drink it for the taste. I
Right.
drink it,
Yeah,
sometimes
the taste, which nobody wants to say, by the way. They're like, "I drink it because it tastes like sugar," and you're like,
dude, it's like you can only have so much water over the course of the day, right? And I'm a big proponent for hydration, but water tastes boring sometimes.
right.
And so a lot of people just drink it, to supplement their own water intake. And everything kept coming back to delicious, effective hydration.
Right.
And so when that sort of hypothesis got confirmed, then I was like, okay, we need to make what we're selling look like what people are actually buying, because right now it doesn't. And I think that we did a pretty good job. I mean, we worked with an agency partner that was incredible over the course of 2022 to develop several different versions of
Mhm.
what ultimately became our can design. We put it into consumer testing. It tested higher than body armor on purchase intent and uniqueness and likability, which are really big deals in the packaging space. And since we launched it a couple of weeks ago, people love it. And I think that people love it because it's just a better reflection of what it is that they love about O2, and
Yeah.
I'm positive that more people who walk by the cooler at the gym and see these new cans in the cooler who don't know about O2 are going to reach for it and take a look at it and see that it looks pretty tasty. Maybe ask the gym owner about it or ask a coach or just buy it on the spot. I know that's happening. I've seen it happening at my gym, and it's cool to see that in real life.
As you're talking through this, I'm kind of going through my Rolodex of other drinks in the space. And as you're walking through this, did you look at kind of the other players in the space and realize that they had all kind of done something very similar?
In terms of their evolution or in terms of
Um,
offering?
the can design specifically, not their drinks, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because if I think about all the other ones, I'm like, oh, they all did that at some
Yeah.
point.
And I think that that's to be expected, um, at least for a lot of entrepreneurs in our space are first-time entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And I think that for first-time entrepreneurs, it would be really surprising if you got the packaging right out of the gate,
Right.
or any first-time entrepreneur. If you
Right.
got anything perfectly right out of the gate, it's really
Yeah, it's
surprising.
like a gym. You get your logo. Nobody gets their logo right the first
Exactly.
time. Nobody gets their membership packages. They
Exactly.
don't they don't pick a space
Exactly.
correctly the first
Exactly.
time. Nothing. You get
The ones
0 things right the first time.
the ones that are successful understand that and have the self-awareness to understand that and have the ability to, take that awareness and turn it into an evolution versus just sticking to the same thing because it's easier or because they like it or because that's how we've always done things or whatever.
Right.
So I think that, the brands that are in the space, like them or hate them, they've all evolved, for better or for worse from what they originally started at because of the intention of, okay, we got to learn from what we're doing and hopefully grow from it.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, it's a business. Like you got to turn product. I mean,
Totally. Totally.
obviously, like, and I don't think what most people don't know is like the margins aren't typically great
You got to sell a lot of
in the food industry, right?
Right.
Like, and
Right.
most people will tell you like the food industry is a penny industry,
Mhm.
right? Like it's like the margins are not great. It's a volume game.
Yeah. Right.
So,
And
and if
I think
packaging bumps you up 4%, that might not sound like a lot, but in the food and beverage game, 4% is a
it's a
lot.
lot. It's a lot. And it's a lot, I think it's a lot for the retail partners as well, because when you sell a can of O2 at your gym, you're making $1.50 in
Mhm.
profit off of that, which is fine. That's a good margin, but $1.50 isn't going to change your life, right?
Right,
However, if you're selling hundreds of cans
right,
over the course of a month, yeah, $1.50 adds up.
right.
And so, that's something that we tried to keep in mind too, was what's going to be the net impact on our retail partners, particularly our gym partners, because that's where we're extra focused now that we've gone through this reevaluation of the business model. What's going to be the net result in the places that matter? And, that's part of the reason why we put this packaging into consumer testing with a bunch of fitness buffs is do people who are strangers to O2 really like it? And we found that it performed twice as well as our existing design and better than the best packaging in the space. And so the answer to that question is yes, and it's hell yes. So we're pretty excited to see what net impact and net improvement, this gets at the retail level, particularly in gyms as well.
So outside of the branding, what were some of the other significant changes that you had? Obviously, if the very obvious one is like cost. We have to cut costs when I'm losing VC funding, right? So what are some of the other, like, what are some of the fundamental changes that you guys have to make as a business, and like strategically, operationally? What does that even look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, it looked like a tremendous amount of financial modeling. It feels like all we did for a couple months was build various financial models in different scenarios. But it looked like a rationalization of the business, of the team, and a full and complete reevaluation of what we offer and why we offer it. One of the things that I'm particularly excited about, and people have been excited about, that came out of that is we made a decision to bring back what was once a very popular product of ours, which is the O2 hydration mix. Have you tried that, Fern?
I tried it when it originally came out, but not since then. It's been forever. Yeah.
And I know I'm biased, but I encourage people to try it. And if you don't like it, I'll personally refund your money. It's basically like a liquid IV, except ours actually tastes good. And not only does it taste good, it tastes great. So like people actually enjoy drinking our hydration mix versus choking something down that tastes like salt water. And this product for us has a lot of potential in the retail environment in gyms, because we've seen, products like LMNT do well in those environments. In some cases, I think Hydrant made a push into CrossFit at a certain point. But we feel
right now, I've had a lot of LMNT, but I'll be honest with you, I do not enjoy the taste of salt water.
It's salt water, man. And I'll drink it occasionally when I fast. Outside of that, like, I'm not doing that because I like it. Now that O2 hydration mix is back in stock, I'm doing that because I like it. And it's just easy if you're going backpacking or, on a bike ride or whatever, you can kind of control how much or how little you put in your water. And people really like that. And it's also a pretty profitable product. It's something that we can offer strong profit margins on to our retail partners. And frankly, it costs us less money to ship a case of that, which is like,
oh God,
I'm sure. Right. Versus a case of 12-pound water.
Yeah, a couple hundred of those is about the size of a roll of toilet paper versus 2 pallets of O2 cans.
Exactly. So that was something positive that came out of it that we were really excited about. In addition to the rebrand, I touched on.
I'll be honest with you. I thought you were gonna be like, we're bringing back the peach CBD.
Yeah. That's not going to happen for many reasons. However,
I know.
We really appreciate this. The origin of our hydration mix flavors, peach pear and pomegranate guava, were the same flavors that we had the CBD product.
Okay. Well, I'm in. Sold. Right.
It's just a pain in the ass to sell a product with CBD online.
No, I know. We've talked about this before, but I just want to give you a hard time about that. Only so that Barry said this. So only 700 or 370 milligrams of sodium, though. How come? Is that for educate me here? Is that a lot or a little?
That's a good amount of sodium. I'm just looking at the nutrition facts in front of me now. 16% daily value. So
dude. By the way, if you haven't noticed, Dave, most of the people in the comments are actually real people, but the names are quite how should we say, what's the word I'm looking for here, Cody? They're They have good imagination. Yeah, because
That's great.
Barry McCockiner is a very, very trusted
Oh my
friend
God,
of
how
the
did I
show.
not? I didn't
Yeah.
even.
Oh, don't worry. This is one of the more. That's one of the better ones, Dave. There's some that you have to read 4 or 5 times. And
That's
you're like,
great.
oh, yeah.
That's great.
Never mind.
Let me answer this question as
Yeah.
seriously as we possibly can for Barry
Yep.
McCockiner.
Okay.
So 370 is a good amount, 16% daily value. It's not as much as LMNT, and if you want that much sodium, drink LMNT. However, if you want something that like tastes really good that you can drink and enjoy it, I would say drink O2. So we crafted that sodium and potassium blend pretty purposefully. Our product has, gosh, I can't remember how much potassium LMNT has, but I'm fairly certain our product is significantly more potassium, and I think that ratio of sodium to potassium is pretty important. We actually developed that based on an IV bag. So, if you're one of those people who drinks like, I don't know, 2 grams of salt a day, this might not be for you. But if you're somebody,
I'm not even sure that's necessary. I mean, like maybe I'm sure there are times like if you're going through extreme bouts of like tons of sweating, you're outside all the time, then maybe. But it's a lot of sodium.
People have a tendency, and I was reminded of this a couple of weeks ago. Tosh and Nicole pretty well.
Yep. You were just out there for a diesel day, weren't you?
Yeah, I was just out there for diesel.
Okay. Yep.
So I did my diesel day in October, and then one of my team members did his first diesel day a couple of weekends ago. And Tosh does a really good job of preparing everybody for what diesel day is, which is a 24-hour nonstop workout. And he gives a lecture on hydration. And what he reminded everyone of in that lecture is something that often goes unspoken, which is it's pretty regular and pretty not good for people to overconsume too much electrolytes, because that causes your body to pull liquid out of your muscles and into your stomach where you have so many electrolytes, and that's not good for cramps. That's not good for physical mobility. It's not good for a lot of things. So this is one of those things where more is not always better, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there's pretty solid science behind that too that say that I have to go back and find out where it was, but I think it's in the Journal of Sports Medicine, but referring to hydration levels, and a lot of them show that peak physical performance is actually more often had at a slight level of dehydration.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
you got to be thirsty to want it.
Maybe that's it. So, okay. So you guys are going to be back at the games.
Yep.
What's that? Do you guys know what that is going to look like? So there's multiple things going on there, right? So you guys are heavily involved, born out of the CrossFit affiliates. I don't want to rehash that. We've talked about this many times, and anybody who was born yesterday knows that. You guys are in the APN, the games. Obviously, the games is its own monster. You'll be there just showering people in O2. What about the APN? What do you guys have there?
APN's it's actually it's like our best retail deal out there. And I can't recall off the top of my head the exact specifics on the introductory offer. But I know that the margins are very, very competitive and very good. So I'd encourage people, if you're a CrossFit gym and haven't checked out the APN deal from O2 yet, check it out. So we really like that relationship, and that's been a pretty big business driver, but so is this one too, and as far as the introductory deal goes, our introductory deal with Best Hours, I think the best we offer, which you correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe it's buy 3 24 packs, get 2 free, or buy 2 24 packs, get 3 free, something like that. And
Cody, free, can you verify that?
Free O2 mini fridge, free O2.
Yeah, the fridge is huge.
Yeah, it's buy 3, get 2, and you get the fridge and the branded Yeti Rambler.
Which that thing is pretty dope, man. I use
that thing is pretty dope. That is pretty dope.
And if you guys are on watching on YouTube, you can see the link for that stuff in the description for this show right now.
There you go. Booyah. So that's kind of what the APN looks like. What our plans for Madison look like. It's still a little bit up in the air. I mean, I think we did a really, really good job last year of making it impossible for somebody to not see somebody with a can of O2 in their hands, or some O2 apparel, or an O2 badge. I mean, O2 is everywhere in
Right.
Madison last year. And of course, there's things I would do differently next time
Mhm.
around, which we will. But I think we did a pretty good job of activating that partnership.
Do you guys? I'm sure you have metrics coming out of stuff like that. What
Mhm.
what are? I mean, damn, dude, it's May. That's wild.
I know.
The
It's terrifying.
For 2023, what's a win for O2 look like for you guys this year?
Coming out of the CrossFit Games?
No, just for the year in general. I mean, yeah, obviously throw the CrossFit Games in there,
Yep.
but like if when you close out for New Year's Eve, what are you going to look back and be like, "Yep, we did it. We checked the box."
I really think that the launch of the rebranded can and the relaunch of the hydration mix, that's the biggest thing I wanted to get done this year. And the team rallied to get that done on time and under budget, which for a project of that magnitude, imagine renovating your house, right?
Right.
And what a pain in the ass that is.
Right.
Does that ever cost as much money and take as little time as you think it will? It's like, no, it always
Not if you're my in-laws. No, it doesn't.
over budget, and it takes longer than you expect. And there was a ton of hustle that our team put into making sure that we get this done and we do it well. And we do the liquid formulation, the justice it deserves in the packaging and the visual aesthetics, rebrand the website, rebrand everything that we touch, and email flows, rebrand the boxes that O2 comes in when shipped to your doorstep. It said like everything was reworked. And that was a monumental effort. And we have gotten nothing but like really enthusiastic, positive response from our customers, retail partners, and D2C customers alike based on the new can. So that's a big one.
Did you guys hire the now let go marketing director from Bud Light? Is that she's
No.
available? No, okay.
Yeah, although the two guys, so we hired two guys, and they're based out of New York, and just
she's available now.
yeah. There's a lot of people from Bud Light are probably coming available. But we hired two guys from New York, and these are two just really good human beings, fit, active guys themselves.
Right.
And they've worked with clients ranging from Bud Light and Grey Goose all the way down to, startups smaller than O2. And, they knocked it out of the park. And I have to give credit where credit's due to James from my team, Chris from my team, Shane from my team. These guys were heavily involved in the process with that agency. And, it really does kind of take a village in this sense when you're working with an outside partner to make sure that they're successful. Because at the end of the day, it's got your name on it. It's not something where you say, okay, I'm going to hire these great couple guys to do this project and can't wait to see what they come back with in 14 months. Like we were there actively leading that every step of the way. And our team did a great job doing that. And I think the result sort of speaks for itself.
I don't know why when you were talking about that, I started just thinking about just like working with outside entities, and
It's tough.
It's super tough for many reasons. Number one being cost and realizing that at the end of the day, it's in the outside entity's best interest that your project takes longer and costs more.
It costs more, of course. Yep. That is a cold, hard reality.
And whether it's malicious or not, it doesn't matter. Like that's just the incentive, at which point people will lean towards the incentive in any way, even if they're not aware of it in some instances.
Right.
This is an interesting topic. When you guys are going through this rebranding, how are you guys collecting information to figure out where you're going to go? Because I think this is a topic that, number one, I think affiliate owners spend way too much time on. A, they spend too much time on it. B, virtually none of them know anything about it. So you're spending a ton of time on something that you know nothing about to basically prove your own hypothesis, which is I like what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're you,
mm-hmm.
right? But going through like I think about like our logo, like the number of things that we changed on it over the years.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I literally just pulled shit out of a hat, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in some industries, no, this isn't fact. Some industries, logo, packaging, branding are far more important than others. And I would say that in the industry that O2 is in, a 14-month exercise is appropriate for level of importance. If I owned a gym and I spent 14 months on a rebranding project, I should be shot, because those are 14 months that I could spend on, developing my coaches better, or,
Right.
getting more new people in the door. I think it's important, but it's not as important.
Right.
But I think that the fundamentals are probably pretty similar,
Right.
which it doesn't matter what you like. It matters what your target customers like.
Oh man, you're hitting so many nerves of affiliate owners right now. We're just like, it's honestly, it's one of the biggest hurdles that I find we have to jump over in coaching and mentor at affiliate owners. Like it's just like, I'm romantic about this. This is the way we've done it. Some of it is fear for sure. And it's unacknowledged fear. And then some of it is just romanticism. And it's like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter what you like. It doesn't matter how you feel about money. None of that stuff matters.
Right. I think that you I'm not saying you want to be selling something that you don't believe in, or
that's a given.
Your aesthetic is something you can't stand. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, while it's, it matters to an extent what you like, it doesn't matter nearly as much what the people who are going to be paying you money for your product or service like. And that's a tough thing to accept. But once you accept it, it's like, okay, I just need to go out and find out what they like. Well, how do you do that? You talk to them, talk to them, have a bunch of one-on-one conversations, maybe pull a group together. It's not that hard to conduct a focus group or a series of 10 to 20 interviews with your prospective targets on something, something that you want to run by them. People give up 10 minutes, 20 minutes of their time for a $25 Amazon gift card. And that could be the best $250 investment you've ever made if you talk to 10 people and, they show you that what you're putting out in the world sucks today, or what you're thinking about putting out in the world is fantastic. Like, that's a great ROI on your time and money. And I think that that's the process for any large and small organizations. Just talk to your customers.
Well, you bring up a good point, because people ask us all the time, should I send a survey? And I'm like, you should just go talk to them.
Yeah, go talk to them.
Just go ask them that question that you and a focus group would be more fun. B would be significantly faster, and C, you can't get context.
I agree.
In a survey.
I agree. I totally agree.
So for affiliate owners, I literally was just going to write it on the board here. I'm like, do twice a year, do a focus group, bring in 5 to 6 people, series of questions, and then you don't even have to do anything with the information. Just gather and see what it says.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. And there's a time and a place for surveys for sure, but it's at the end. It's not the beginning of that process. The beginning of that process should be, and again, I'm biased, but this is how we did it. To set up 15-minute Zoom calls, or even better, in-person coffee meetings or whatever, with an individual who has either bought your stuff in the past or is somebody who you would like to buy your stuff in the future, and talk to them. Because it's conversations like that. I mean, you and I were doing that in 2020 as we were trying to figure out how the hell to navigate through the pandemic.
Right.
You shared a lot of insight on what gym owners were struggling with and what O2 might be able to do to help. And it was through conversations like that where we were able to have some sort of impact, and we wouldn't be around today had we not had conversations with you and others just like that over and over and over again, because that is the greatest source of value, I think, in a business to determining its trajectory, is delivering on what its customers want.
That is, the longer I run the affiliate, the more that starts to, and this is kind of like how we've revamped how we at Best Hour teach and look at the business. That you have the business side, you have all the X's and O's, the administration, the sales, the operations, all that kind of stuff. And at the very most, that is 50% of the equation.
Yeah.
The other 50% is what we have described as your service, but what is actually could just be interpreted as like, what does the client want, which is
Mhm.
results. They
Mhm.
want to come in, and that results has a lot of different faces. Obviously, they want to get fitter,
Yep.
broad spectrum for fitness, right? They want to have a good time
Yep. Make some
and
friends.
make some friends, and they want to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's actually the hardest part. People think the business is the hardest part. It's not. Business
Mhm.
is business. I'm not saying business is
Yeah.
easy. I'm not saying it's even simple to some
Mhm.
degree. But dude, anybody who's like really tried to sink their teeth in hard to customer service will
Mhm.
tell you that like customer service is by far the heaviest lift. It
Mhm.
is also by far the highest return lift that
Totally.
you'll ever do.
Totally. Totally. Is building that culture with your members and with your staff and, with your co-founders that revolves around we do what's best for our customers. We provide them with our value proposition, which has been developed, solely with them in mind. Everything else is just noise, you know. But I think that's part of what makes your affiliate great. That's part of what makes the one that I go to, CrossFit Roots, great. Is you spend a lot of time and energy developing a culture around delivering that value proposition, and that's the first thing you think of when you wake up. The last thing you think of when you go to bed is how can I make my members feel better? Feel better about themselves, feel better about the friends that they've developed, about coming back for more tomorrow. Like, how can I make them feel good? And if you make people feel good in that setting, dude, you're golden. The business runs itself almost. But that's the hard part, is just delivering on that value proposition.
Yeah, delivering, I think the fulfillment aspect of it, it gets overlooked a lot. People look at sales so much
Mhm.
because it's I think eh, really because like falling short on like sales metrics and targets is a bummer.
Mhm.
Having to swallow the I'm not fulfilling pill is there's a like you have a visceral reaction to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You're just like, "Ugh," like I'm sick.
Yeah.
And I don't, I honestly, I think that's why people don't want to hear that their classes are not that great or their coaching could be better because man, it's just hard to hear. That's like an
That's
ego hit.
It is, of course, but that's the first step to getting better. You gotta swallow that pill in order to get better, right? You can't recover if you're just delaying it.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes you need a gut punch, whether you deliver it, yourself, or somebody else delivers it to you, to spur you into the action required to just objectively facing the facts, whatever they are, whether you like them or not,
Mhm.
and then, okay, based on what I've learned today, which most business owners, I'm sure, will say a lot. I've learned a lot. Based on what I've learned today, how would I do this differently if I were doing it from scratch?
Mhm.
That's what we did when we got our last gut punch. That's what I do
Mhm.
fairly regularly now, is what would this look like if I were doing it from scratch? And it becomes more and more centered on the stuff that matters and less centered on the noise. And regardless of the industry, what matters is how much can I get people to love what I'm doing? You know,
That's the name of the game, dude. That is the name of the game. You want people to be so bought in
totally,
that sales is not even,
totally.
you still want to put thought into it, but it's just their layups,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
The customers got to love you.
Yeah. Um, on that note, what do you guys have, or what do you either O2 or you personally got coming up here for the remainder of the year?
Let's see. I got another team member coming out to do a diesel day.
Uh-oh.
Should be
I'm
fun.
going out there. I won't be out there for Diesel Day. I'll be out there in June for the Big Fish
Oh, good.
fundraiser,
Oh, yeah. I'll be there too.
which dude, I rogered up to that. I'm thinking probably it was something else. I still have
Are you,
no
are you
idea what's
doing it?
happening.
You
I
actually
don't. I
doing
literally
it?
don't know. He was just like, "Hey, you've been chosen." I was like, "Yay!" Right? And but so I'm gonna go there prepared to have
Dude,
my dick drug in the ground. But like,
I'll find out. I don't know if you know this. I'm the executive director of the Big Fish Foundation. And
well, I
so
would like some insider information
you can play some
to
inside.
appropriate. I mean, I'm sure I could just ask Tosh, like, what am I doing? Like, I don't like, I don't know.
Are you sure
Um,
you want to know that? I mean, maybe you don't
uh,
know that.
I mean, whatever. I'll just deal with it. I haven't. This will be my like I try to do like one. Uh, I try to do one hard thing that I've not prepared for every year,
That's
and
awesome.
this would be like this would be it. So
That-
I have no idea what it'll be, but either way, I'm not prepared for it, or maybe I'm prepared for it or not. But I will.
You can't prepare for these. You just
Correct.
can't. You know, bring some comfortable shoes and a couple changes of clothes and
Good attitude.
a water bottle and a good attitude. That's right.
Because I'll be there for like a week almost, I think.
Mhm.
But either way, I'm looking forward to it. I know regardless of what my role is there or what happens there, it will be a positive experience and I will take a ton away from it. So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
These are life-changing experiences. And you know, the annual fundraiser is just as impactful, if not more, than every diesel day that I've either observed or done myself. And I hope you are going through it because you really get a lot out of doing hard shit that you can't really prepare for.
Well, I'm definitely going to do a diesel day for sure.
Good.
That's happening. But I rogered up because he asked me, he's like, hey, we want you to come out. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm in. Just sign me up. Because I was talking to Nicole. I was talking to Nicole about it. And I was like, I'm coming out there. She's like, you are? And she's like, are you doing it? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But I'll be there.
Like, well, you better get ready. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Either way, it'll be a good time.
Yeah,
well,
I'm gonna
see you in June. I should know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, do you know the dates?
It's like I want to say I'm gonna be there from like the 8th to the 12th or something like that.
8th to the 12th. Okay. All right.
Actually, stand by. I will tell you right now. I have my calendar pulled up. 7th through the 12th.
Yeah.
7th through the 12th.
8th, 9th. Yep. 10th. Good. Awesome, man. Well, let's get together when you're out here.
Done. I'll have nothing else to do.
Perfect. Well, maybe we'll save the late night drinking sessions for after the event versus before.
Yes. Spice it up.
Yeah, that's right.
What else? So a diesel day coming up. What else?
Yep. What else? Good question. I got some travel planned. You know, we've got some pretty big partnership announcements in the works at O2 that we're pretty stoked about.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Bigger than best hour. I mean, that's hard to beat, but
you be the judge. But honestly, man, this best hour partnership's been fantastic.
Good. I'm glad.
And you know, you can tell your customers love you. So we've got some cool stuff, you know, happening. And at some point we got to start getting ready for the games. So, you know, we'll try and figure that out.
We got to do that too. This will be the first year. As of right now, we will not be judging. We will just be there.
Hey, look at
doing
that.
Stuff with the affiliate, recording podcasts, having a good time, and maximizing fan experience, shall we say.
There you go. Good. Cool. Well, me too.
Cool. Anything else, man? Anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to jam on?
No, dude, this has been great, man. I appreciate the time, and I hope this was, you know, at least somewhat valuable.
Oh yeah, here's a question from Nick.
New flavors. We might do a special limited edition flavor for one of these partnership announcements that we've got coming out. We'll see. But Nick and everybody else, if you haven't tried the hydration mix, definitely try it, because those are two really remarkable flavors of O2, and it just tastes awesome. Peach, pear, and pomegranate guava are the flavors.
Peach, I'm a fan of effort.
Oh, and the carbonated question. I saw this earlier. So fun fact about O2 is it's super oxygenated, and that's real and that's legit. It's got about 7 times the oxygen of normal water, which means we can't carbonate it because you basically got to choose which gas you want to infuse into the liquid. So
if we were to fill up a pool of O2, would I float more or sink more?
I don't know. There's only one way to find out.
Done.
Buy some pallets. But
Kiddie pool of O2 at the games, everybody. We're going to see if Ackerman floats.
That's right. So you can't carbonate the drinks, but if you want to get crazy, you know, again, get a hydration mix and get a soda stream and carbonate the hell out of it. I hope that would do the trick.
That's cool. Anything else in there, Cody, worth answering? Anything from D's Nuts or any one of the other Barry McCocken or stupid names we got in here? I love you guys, by the way. This is the whack. We call these people the whack pack. The whack pack, Dave.
I thought that was clever. Maybe I'm just naive, but I didn't get it until you mentioned it.
Oh no, there's
the whack pack just gets bigger and bigger.
Cool. So where's the best place for people to find out more? Just go to O2, drink O2.
Yeah, drinko2.com. If you're a gym owner, you know, we've got a remarkable deal for you guys for best hour. Click the wholesale application Takes not even 45 seconds to fill out, and reference best hour of the day. And we will get you squared away with that awesome introductory offer that I mentioned. Buy 3 cases, get 2 for free, free branded mini fridge, and a free O2 best hour Yeti. So check it out, drinko2.com.
Sweet. Yep. Go in the APN if you're not in the APN already. Still, the number of affiliate owners don't know the APN is a thing. There's a tremendous amount of resources in there. Go look at that stuff. If you're one of our clients and you forget all of this stuff, just hit us up. We will make sure and we get you handed off to Dave and his team for that. Like, subscribe, and please share this with your friends. And Dave, I can't wait to see you here in, like, I don't know, call it 2 months, man.
Dude, looking forward to it, man.
A month, not even 2 months.
Like, call it a month.
It's like 7. It's like 7 weeks. No, like 5 weeks. Can't tell time. Yeah, it's coming up quick, dude. So, looking forward to it, man.
Take up
anything
rucking.
Else?
Take up
rucking. I've been thinking about that. We have a ruck thing in our office over there.
Good.
In the other office on the gym. So I'll just start walking around the 3-mile loop here
Perfect.
that we have at the gym.
There you go.
Cool. All right, gang. We'll go see you guys next time. If you guys are not drinking O2, picture
get on it.
Do it.